What's up, gifted family? Welcome to another episode of the show that is the GP YouTube. Just a reminder that if you support what we do here, make sure to go over to giftedperformance.com and sign up for our automated coaching service. For only $1 a day, you'll get access to 15 highly customized training programs, a macronutrient calculator, our meal planning feature that lets you build and save meals based on your macros, as well as access to our private Facebook group. All subscriptions help us in continuing to put out great content to get you to your fitness goals. Thanks for stopping by, and without any further delay, let's get into today's video. Enjoy.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Athlete Diaries series. A familiar face, Mr. Cameron Cheek. You can even see it in the background. It's a nifty belt you got back there, sir. The Gifted Performance, Cameron. Shout out to who?
The lady.
Oh, Julie. Thank you, Julie. You're the best. You can send me one next. And we've also got, some people call her Larrin, me. Some people call her Ford, most people. And some people call her Lauren because that's actually her name. Larrin Ford, welcome. Good to have you on the podcast. How are you today?
Thank you. I am doing great. How are y'all?
It's not Larrin. I know. We've been living a lie. Jimble's also shocked. We're shook over here. So the spelling there is Larrin. How do we get Lauren out of that? Where does the Lauren come from?
My mom is super funny. It's technically Lauren, but nobody says that. And so it's just been Lauren and Larrin my entire life. So I go by either one.
She'll respond to anything.
Exactly.
All right. So today we are going to talk about the kind of early stages. Where are we at now? We're at 8 weeks out now from Lauren's first competition of the season, correct?
I want to, slightly under 8 weeks.
So we are sitting just under 8 weeks as of this recording. What's today? Today's Saturday. So yeah, we're just right at that 8 week mark. So we're going to talk about how that's been going, what we're going to shoot for in the future, and then maybe after everything is said and done, and once she's actually had some food and can put a coherent thought together, we'll bring her on again, and we'll talk about how the entire journey was. But let's kind of start things off with, tell me a little bit about like your previous training history. So a lot of people, I don't even know if Cam knows this, but Lauren and I actually go way back. We are OG Instagram friends like 5-6 years ago, before fitness Instagram was even a thing, is when we first kind of followed each other. And I was like, oh man, this girl squats pretty heavy. She's pretty cool. She can hang with me. She can sit at the same table. So what was that early weight training for you like?
Well, it started in 2009. A really good friend of mine introduced me to heavy lifting, and I kind of got into that. He taught me a lot of the techniques with the 3 main lifts, bench press, squat and deadlift. And then I was iffy with it off and on, had my son in 2011, and then got back into just a little bit of training. I was actually did group certification, group classes. I did that for 2 years from 2013 to 2015. And then in 2015, I was deadlifting horrendously, awfully at the gym, but I was lifting heavy. And he just walked up to me. He said, "Do you know you're built for powerlifting?" I didn't know if I should be offended or take it as a compliment. And so and it sparked an interest in powerlifting. So at that time, I put it on my bucket list per se to do a powerlifting meet before I turned 30, or I was right at, I was 32. And so I competed in my first powerlifting meet November of 2015, and it just went from there. And so I had a coach that was from the gym. He was just a good friend that he was actually super annoyed with the way that I deadlifted, because I was that girl that would pick the weight up and drop it from the top and not put it back down. And I actually have a video of him in the background watching me deadlift and then shaking his head after I dropped it. And so he approached me from there and he said, "Let me just take you under my wing." And that's what he did. And 5 years worth of powerlifting and about 7 meets. So that was my training, my background in that. And so
So let's brief pause, 30-second timeout real quick. You said that you were a group fitness instructor. Cam also has a history of group fitness instructing. So what kind of group fitness classes did you teach?
I did a cardio hit strength training class. And so I did it. It was through my job. They had a gym in my building that I worked at and I did it on my lunch break, and it was for a free membership. So it was just something to do on my lunch break.
You're fit. You're doing it.
Right. So it was more of like a boot camp style class. And so a lot of people from my office came up, and several other, I think I had an average 10 to 15 people in each class every day. So it was fun to do at the time.
Cam, what group fitness classes did you teach? Similar, kind of like strength training, hit stuff?
It was kind of a little bit mix of everything. I would say if anything wasn't as emphasized, it would probably be the cardiovascular side, but it was just through Anytime Fitness.
Okay, cool. So Lauren, Lauren came from a powerlifting background. Now she's transitioning. She's going to be a master's figure competitor. If we haven't gone over that already, if you haven't already stalked her, stopped the video and went and stalked her after that bicep flex that you saw in the thumbnail. So what were your main goals before you decided to pursue the prep? Was it 100% strength focused? Was it more of like a power building, like a little bit of the strength stuff and then some hypertrophy? Kind of what was your intent? What were you looking to get out of training?
Training for the powerlifting?
Just your
for
training in general.
Okay. In general. Strength. I just wanted to lift as much as possible. My natural body weight at the time was anywhere between 140 to 145. And I would cut down into the 132 class for powerlifting. And I did that obviously the horrible way. But no, it was mostly just to be as strong as possible. Because I mean, I fell in love with the actually just the weightlifting aspect of it, and just seeing how much I could push and being strong and not necessarily.
So you kind of skimmed over, but let's talk about that kind of nutrition that you used for cutting. Because the next question here that I was going to ask you was like, how does that compare? So how would you compare kind of what you used to do training and nutrition wise to where you are now?
Well, when I would try and when I was getting ready for a meet, I would do 12 weeks of training, and then that last 2 weeks or so, I would cut about 8 to 10 pounds, which would be the typical broccoli, chicken, rice, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Kill yourself trying to do this, because that's just what I knew. I didn't really do much of research with it, and I did water cut and all of that, and it was awful. And this training, had I had known and started 12 weeks prior in the powerlifting to cut down properly, I mean, there's no telling what my numbers could have been at my meets, because I know that in my first meet, I didn't rehydrate properly. That was that was
A bad
awful
time,
to say the least. Yeah. So this has just been an eye-opening to nutrition for me for the most, and just how you can do it properly and still eat properly.
It's interesting. I think it's kind of like a powerlifting thing, or kind of built into the culture, this kind of ignorance around nutrition until that weight cut comes. And Cam, you can kind of talk about, you just started working with Jamal Browner, who's a really big name powerlifter. I believe he's a 105 kilo. So does he have kind of some of the same concerns that Lauren had early on, or some of the same issues where there's just a fundamental misunderstanding of nutrition as a whole?
So I believe in the past, I want to say, and don't quote me on this, especially if Jamal's watching this, but I believe that whenever he would have to diet down to make weight for meat, that he would just start eating more cleaner foods. And I think towards the end, they would do more of a rapid cut. And with him trying to bring up a total, I think in the 2000 something now for his next meet. I know that he really wanted to focus on nutrition and really just like, hey, my training's good. Now let's get every aspect dialed into where it needs to be, because that's the only way that you'll reach your full potential. And I know he was pretty excited about it so far. We haven't started the diet for the meet yet. I believe we actually are this coming week, since he's 21 weeks out, and we're just going to take things super slow. But over the last 5 or 6 weeks since we've started, he said that his training has been like superb since his nutrition's really been dialed in. He feels fueled all the time. He's not as hungry. He's eating more at the same weight. He just feels a lot more comfortable, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. Something that's overlooked by a lot of powerlifters. So, we got some decent nutrition coaches on the staff. Maybe hit your boys up. A little shameless plug there. But let's go ahead and let's move forward now. Let's kind of transition over to working into your contest, perhaps. So, what really piqued your interest? Was there a single moment that you were like, you know what, I want to jump into like a figure, a bodybuilding prep, or was it something that you've kind of always looked at and say, hey, that looks pretty cool. I'm going to try that one day. What was it for you?
It was yes, following several women who were figure competitors, even the bikini competitors, and just to know what they go through and how disciplined they are with it. And nutrition for me, working out's the easy part. Nutrition is my nemesis on everything, on every aspect of it. And so to do a figure prep, I had to get myself into a good headspace with that, and to say, let's do this to see if I can do it. Because not many people can. And it was something that, it's just a beautiful sport to watch, and just to see how they mold their body, and, just to get to that point, to walk on stage like that. And so I actually had put it out in the atmosphere to say I was going to do it in 2018. At the end of 2018, I hurt myself. I had some injuries from powerlifting that put me out for a while. So 2019, I just all kind of talked about it, and finally, searched for coaches and bit the bullet and started with you in January. So my injury is really what threw me into it early, because I was going to try and do it. I always said I was going to do a figure show before I was 40. So I'll be 38 when I walk on stage in June.
Here we go, and we'll be ready, looking better than ever. So,
Thank you.
Kind of walk me through that decision of hiring myself, or kind of coming on with the Gifted Performance team. What was it that kind of sold you on joining the team? Because I know that you hired me, but I throw pictures to Cam all the time. I'm always talking with Paul and the other coaches. It's really a team effort. So, what kind of sold you on us?
Well, I had a friend of mine. She gave me a lot of pointers on how to look for a coach. And I reached out to probably 4 or 5 other people. Some of their preps were double my house payment. I was just like, and some of them, I was super scared of that cookie cutter prep, that, because she went through that. She hired someone who was very well known, and she paid extra for the prep, and she got to talking to another friend of hers who had the same coach, and lo and behold, their preps were the exact same. Nutrition, everything to the T. And so that was my biggest fear. The ones that I did talk to, I just I wasn't sold on them. And then I want to say I came across one of your squat posts again, and then I went to your page, and then I saw the Gifted Performance links. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just reach out. So I reached out, and you answered all of my questions very thoroughly. No sugarcoating. There was no I didn't feel like you were trying to tell me what I wanted to hear. So I could, be like, oh, okay, but I appreciated the honesty with the questions, and just being straightforward. Price points helped as well too. So I felt like it was just a really great, fit, because your personality, I felt like, is like kind of with mine too, as far as to be able to get along and just not make this, just a dumpster fire, I guess I would say, of
Yeah.
coaching. Because some of the girls that I've talked to, they've had some horror stories of their first coaching. So this being my first time and my first prep, I didn't really know what to expect, but it's just been phenomenal. I mean, to say the least.
And whenever you went, or whenever we started that question, you kind of went back and said that you got some advice and pointers from others on how to find a coach. There might be some out there watching this video that are struggling or maybe debating on if they should hire somebody or not. If you can recall, do you remember some of those pointers and advice when deciding who might be the right fit for you is?
The biggest one was to look at their client spotlights, like the clients that they are currently coaching, whether it's personal training or in prep. Looking to see if they have posts of them, their before and afters, or they're along their process of it, to see how many weeks those between the before and after pictures, things like that, to see. And I know social media can be not like really a very great gauge on their actual coaching aspect. But it was one of the things that, I looked for to see if like their progress and what they did. And then to just reach out and first talk price points, and then talk about my concerns with the coach. Like what I'm going to expect, out of a coach, if that's, if you can put some of those concerns at ease, or whatever it would be with those questions.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's huge to reach out to a coach and have conversation and make sure that, is this person even going to give me the time of the day in the first place to talk to me and like show me that
Right.
they're the decision? Because most people are just going to be like, hey, like here's the application form, like you can go online, like make the payment, but are they even willing to like talk to you out of the gate? And I think that's
Right.
huge. And another thing
Yes,
too,
Ryan.
with comparing progress pictures and stuff, and it's neat to see people taking like genetic freaks to another level and stuff, but it's also cool when it's like, oh, you take somebody that you can tell they grew up a heavier person, or I guess like big boned, if you will, and somebody who's not a genetic freak in this area, but they end up turning them into something that it looks like, oh, I didn't even know they were capable of that. I
Right.
think that's huge too.
Right. And that was one of the things that you said about Ryan took the time to answer my questions, because there were a few coaches that I reached out to that I got one word answers, or it was just, just kind of like a flippant email back about go back and, look at this or look at that. But Ryan took the time to answer my questions. And another thing too was looking for natural competitors, because I wanted to stay natural competitors versus those, who coaches who do nothing but unnatural competitors.
We call those folks the enhanced folks.
Enhanced. Thank you. I did not think of that word.
Yes. So
Drug addicts.
some of Lauren and I's original conversation, she knew that she was headed towards a contest prep in the next year. She knew that she needed to kind of redirect some of her training efforts. And when she reached out to me, she said, "Hey, listen, this is kind of what I'm doing now for diet. This is kind of what I'm doing for training." And not to toot my own horn, but I didn't know if you were going to hire me or not. I didn't really mind if you did or you didn't. But what I wanted to do was steer you in the right direction, so that whoever you did end up hiring down the road, whether it may be me or someone else, that you were in a good position. So I think I told you to kind of fix some of your macros around, eat a little bit more, make sure that you're kind of actually gaining some weight before you start a prep, fix some things in your training. And then it was really nice when you actually did hire me, because then I already knew that you were in a good position. You had been eating enough, your training was good, and we could just kind of steamroll right into prep. And I think it's been very, very smooth. It's been pretty smooth pretty much from day one for us.
Right.
So
Right.
when you two started, it was at the start of her prep, or you started a little bit before the actual diet?
I think the initial pieces of advice that I kind of threw her way, because I kind of like steered her in the right direction on like, hey, this is what your macros should look like, this is what your training should look like before we even start, was probably, what was that, a month, 2 months prior to starting prep?
I actually remember it was in November because I was most of our emails going back and forth. I was in the airport going to New Orleans at that time. So it was November 10th is when I originally was started, and then you gave me my pointers. And so I did a lot of the exercise pointers and more of the macro pointers through November and December. And then I started with you January 2nd.
And man, I can't thank you enough for like taking that very seriously and really kind of like taking those pointers to heart and being and following that advice. Because kind of had you gone your own way and done what you were going to do, we might not have had the really smooth transition. So it's a good idea for those who are watching this and looking for a coach. Maybe reach out to that coach and say, hey, listen, I'm looking for coaches, I'm really thinking about hiring you, what can I do in the next few months to kind of set myself up in a position where when we do start we can be successful. So that was very, very helpful. But let's kind of actually get into that contest prep period now. Just some general contest prep questions here. The first one, you can take it any direction you want to go with this. So what are some of the easiest and the hardest parts of prep thus far? So what's been super easy? You were like, oh, this is easy, it's nothing, versus the really hard stuff.
The refeed days are super easy.
Super easy.
Super easy. I love the way you tailor the workouts, the way that you put things together with my garage gym. You ask me every single piece of equipment that I have, and and work with that. And so that's been phenomenal on that aspect. The nutrition wise has been the hardest part, of course. I would have mental battles with myself on the daily, to go into the pantry and eat something that I'm not supposed to track, or not gonna track. But I can say out of these past, what is it, 17 weeks, 16 weeks?
I think.
I think, admittedly, that I've had maybe 4 or 5 instances that I've, binged on something that I shouldn't have and didn't track it, but that's okay. But the nutrition part of it, the cuts, is what gets me the most. But
Cut the podcast. She's been cheating on her diet. Shut it down.
Eat it now.
Yeah, I had 6 snickerdoodle cookies in the dark at 11:30 at night a couple Saturdays ago.
It was
but
in the
that's
dark,
okay.
so they didn't even see you
It
coming.
was in the dark.
Don't
No.
Up on them.
So I just had a moment. Just give me my moment. But no.
Diaries for a reason, man. All the deepest, darkest secrets lie here.
So,
but
in kind of in terms of the prep as a totality, has that been the thing that's kind of taken you by surprise? Is kind of those moments where it's like this real internal battle of goals, long-term goals versus short-term satisfaction, or have there been some other surprises?
Yeah, I have to with the goals, where short-term, long-term. Of course, I want to make you proud when I step on stage, make myself proud of how, because I represent you and what you represent as far as being a coach and your gifted performance. And so I don't want to look like, like, whoa, what did he do to her kind of thing? Because you give me the tools and it's up to me to use them. And so it's just been, my goals are set daily. Like my daily, when it comes down to nutrition, like, okay, I set everything out in what I can in my fitness pal and track everything, my water, my workouts, and just say, okay, so I hit this goal today in the morning. That's where I want to be, because I'm in the aspect of, if I have a weak moment with my nutrition and go in and eat something I'm not supposed to and don't track it, then in the morning, I may be under, but I would have been where I should be at that moment. So it's more of a daily goal for me. Of course, the long-term goal, is when stepping on stage, but I literally have to take it day by day, with just hitting my macros is the best thing.
Yeah. And that's honestly, you hit a lot of boxes there in terms of like what both Cam and I look for in an ideal client. You're very process oriented. You focus on, I'm just going to check my boxes from day to day. I'm going to hit my macros. I'm going to do my steps. I'm going to get my training in, all that. And then another part that we really like to see from clients is you trust that I and the team as a whole have your best interest at heart. Like over anything, like we win together. Like you said, if when you look good, I look good, but I look good when you look good. So we both kind of have each other's interest at heart there. And to be completely clear here, Lauren will eat like cookies and pizza, and then she'll wake up and be like, "Hey, I ate some cookies and pizza, but new low today." So she's one of those that everyone hates.
But to be okay, so hang on. Let me back up. I have not had like a Domino's pizza in forever since prep. I make my own pizzas because that's the thing that, you know, my family will eat pizza in front of my face like they did last night. But no, I will, the sweets and stuff I have to limit because I have a huge sweet tooth, and putting that in I will make my own, or I will have like some kind of nutrition hack, which the girls on the team have been phenomenal with giving pointers and tips on, you know, getting those sweet tooth hacks for something a little more lighter on the calories than what, you know, eating a handful of Oreos. So, but yes, my body does love carbs. I'll always have a low after more carbs for some reason, which is good.
Yeah. You'll be one that's easy to peak. We'll throw a bunch of carbs at you. You'll wake up drier, fuller, veinier than ever. It's gonna be an easy breezy one. But quick question here for the group. Homemade pizza or Domino's pizza? What's better? Or not even Domino's, just like any Papa John's, Domino's. What do we think? What do you think, Lauren?
There's a place in Dallas called Serious Pizza, and they have a pizza that if you get it to go, it's the extra large, you can't fit it out the door. You literally have to turn it to get it out the door. And it's like they make it fresh, and you pick it up and everything is just trying to melt off of the thin crust, and then you eat it. It's so hot you burn the roof of your mouth, but you're still eating it because it's so freaking good. Yes.
She's for sure died.
And Serious Pizza is the first place I'm gonna go right after my show in Dallas.
Oh man, you ruined my next question. My next question was going to be, what are you looking forward to most in after those first few months after stage? Kind of, what are you most looking forward to?
Everything he made you go through, and then eating
pizza.
Yeah,
what else?
My best friend is making me. Oh no, my best friend is making me cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes, and she's making me pina colada cupcakes. So those are my. That's going to be shoved into my face first.
Sweet. So, and we'll kind of move back a little bit. Over the next 8 weeks, what are you most looking forward to? Is it new forearm veins, new striations in your obliques? What are you most looking forward to?
My veins they stay crazy. I already have like the veins coming through on my abdomen, and you know, I don't know. I think to be honest, I just want my butt to lift up a little bit more. Let's get that there, because butt goals for sure.
So I haven't told Lauren this yet, but we're currently on a nice trajectory for her to start like a reverse diet into her peak week at somewhere around that like 2.5 to 3 week out mark, like 17 to 20 days. I'm guesstimating she'll be ready. So she doesn't know yet. Well, now she does, but she's excited for that. So we're going to start throwing some more food at you then. So that'll be fun.
Okay.
All right. So this is a real serious one that I want to end on here. Last real serious question, and I want to take a while to answer this. What are the funniest DMs that you've gotten so far this prep? Because Lauren gets some great DMs, and I honestly don't know anyone else who gets as many as the unsolicited advice is amazing. But I'll let you take it away. Maybe give me like a top 3.
It's my top 3. girl, you must be starving. Like, are you even eating? And I'm like, no, just air, chips, and water. That's all my coach gives me, 100% starving. And then, and then I got coached the other day. I should be power building. I had posted, it was my deload video of my Y grip pull-ups, and I had, like maybe 5 of them to do. And so I took it slower, and then this guy randomly popped into my DMs. He was like, no, that's not how you're doing it. I know more than you. I know more than your coach. This is what you should be doing. And of course, I'm like, oh yeah, let me just fire my coach and hire you. What are your price points? Can you please help me with that? That sounds amazing, Gary. Thank you. I had one, I believe it was yesterday, that he asked for how much for pictures and videos, but didn't specify of what. So that could be anything, really.
Anything.
I've had, yeah, I've had, the asking for my nutrition, and, and I understand that a lot of women see my transformation throughout the weeks and stuff and are curious. And the main thing that I just say is what works for me may not work for you. And, I've had a woman who wanted my macro count, but she's much taller than I am, weighs a lot more than I do. And so I'm just like, what I'm doing is not going to work for your body, and what works for your body to respond. I've always said everybody is a science experiment, because some people don't do well with carbs and they do better with fats. My body does better with carbs. And then, can you send me your training? No, you can ask my coach for my training and pay him, because I'm not just going to send you what I'm doing. Right. But yeah, and then I should be building mass and lifting heavier, and, okay. So if you look at my posts and see where I've come from and where I am now, obviously something's working, and my coach knows just a little bit enough to get me there. So I appreciate the unsolicited advice. It's been great. So other than that, I haven't had, that's about it on the DMs, but there's typically in my stories, maybe once, twice a week, I'll get someone who knows more than you, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know pretty much anything, so
them to teach him things, but he didn't pay for the full subscription, so he only got part
exactly.
of it.
What happens is I hit up Gary for training, and then I forward the training to you, and I don't cut Gary into it, so he's a little bit bitter about that.
It's better, yeah.
I think my favorite one was when you were like 2 weeks into dieting, so you still had some fluff going. You weren't even close to as lean as you are now, and someone told you that your rear delts weren't popping. And now, here we are, like 14 weeks later, your back is shredded to the bone, and your rear delts stick out like that far from your back, and everyone's commenting like, "Oh my God, your back and your delts are sick. What did you do for those?"
Right. Yeah, I remember that DM. That was okay. What do you do? Like, my coach has it under control. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
15 weeks ago.
All right, so let's finish off a little bit of just a piece of advice for individuals that are coming from more of a powerlifting background, or maybe they're just seeing you in your situation as a mom. You're not 21 years old anymore. You work out from home. You don't have access to any fancy gym equipment. What are some pieces of advice that you would give to individuals who kind of like to play that, maybe like that excuse game, like, oh, I'm a mom, my metabolism isn't what it used to be anymore, like I can't train like I used to anymore? What would be some things that you would tell them?
If you don't stick to plan, you won't know if it actually works. Because so many people, men and women, who get it, all the tools handed to them and just want to do whatever it is they want to do themselves and not stick to it, or they'll stick to it about 75%, or they, skip out on cardio or skip out on something. And it's just like, you don't know your full potential if you're not sticking to what's been handed to you. And that's been my biggest thing, is like I said, you hand me the tools, I will put in the work. And that's what I've just been doing. So take it day by day, and and I actually had a friend of mine, she sent me a very sweet DM, and she said, you know what? She said, you haven't complained one time. And I said, well, I don't complain a lot because it just sets you into a negative mind space of like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't do this, or oh, this, oh, that. It just do it. Get it over with, because my workouts now are 2.5 hours. And, it's just I know what I'm supposed to do. My workouts are there, my nutrition there, my food's there, my cardio's there. Just get it over with and do it. And so, because I always feel fantastic afterwards. But stick to the plan, stick to what's been given to you. And if you have a great coach, they'll listen to you. They will listen to you, because Ryan's been fantastic at just saying, it's just one of those days. So, when I'm like, I'm tired, and like, I know my energy is a little iffy right now, but I always rebound. And so there's always going to rebound from it.
Yeah.
So it's just an adjustment period.
For every one of those bad days, I get a ton of, you're just a very positive person in general. For every one of those texts that I get from you that says, man, today's a long day, really hungry, really tired, and I just send you hey, it's going to be all right, just get it done today, because tomorrow will be better. And then the next day or the next couple of days, you'll text me, oh man, I'm benching my body weight for sets of 5, sets of 6. I've never done that before. I'm squatting all this weight for sets of 8. Like, I've never done that before. If you focus on the negatives, if you look for the negatives, you're going to find them. But you're such a positive person, and you're always focusing on those positives and you're finding them. And on top of that, your consistency has been next to none. So I applaud you. I know the days are getting hard, but like you said, you're just going to keep getting them done.
And it shows. Thank you. Like, I know this was our first time talking, but I had no idea that this would be your first show. Like, Ryan would send us your pictures and stuff and be like, yo, Ford's looking awesome. And I'm like, Jesus, like, how many more weeks here? Like, sheesh. And then, but yeah, you would look, I would thought like maybe this was like your 3rd, 4th year competing, something like that. But for this being your first go around at 8 weeks out now, it's usually what a lot of people hope for within like their 3rd or 4th season competing and stuff. So you're going to kill it. You're doing awesome so far.
Thank you. I do have to give my girls, the buff bitches out there, that we have a group chat.
Oh no, not the group chat.
Let me tell you, yes. Yes, they just, I'm the oldest one in there, I believe. And, just some of them, I want a mother, that mother comes out in me, but I appreciate them, each and every single one of them, so much, because we talk about everything, and their support has just been, just from, girl, you look so good. Oh my God. The compliments, the support, the advice, the, what to expect in shows. And it's just that team, the Gifted Performance team in itself has just been, I couldn't ask for anything better within this first prep. So, and anybody that reaches out to me asking, about you or about the team, and I'm just, I've sent you, ton of screenshots of people asking, and like, I just have nothing but, amazing things to say about this whole experience.
You're representing the team well.
Thank you.
You're a great member of the team, and I know all the girls in that group chat would say that they're happy to have you in there as well.
Thank
you. What, Cam?
I was going to say I have one question that I want to ask her, and you have to pick an answer. So I know you haven't stepped on stage yet, and that's like a huge part of it with bodybuilding. But from what you have seen and done so far, if you had to pick powerlifting or bodybuilding, it was like you got one prep left before you're just tapping out on life, which one would you pick? And what's the first reason that comes to your mind of why you're picking that one?
I would say figure, just because it's a whole new monster from powerlifting. I feel like the nutrition aspect of doing a figure show is hands down the hardest part of it. Powerlifting, you get in there, you push around some weight, you get up that body weight so you can lift more and eat like a, like a monster. And so, but I would say figure, and they're both hard. Don't get me wrong. I mean, training for powerlifting is hard to, for technique and depth and, everything to that aspect. But figure, yeah, it's just because it's harder to get your body to look. You have to look a certain way. In powerlifting, you can lift whatever you want to lift and, get out there on a meet. But figure, when you're on that stage, you have judges too that are just
probably should because
well, yeah. You don't have to, but you should. You really should.
First show, and you're gonna be like, what? Why? What happened here?
Right.
You haven't even had the best, I think, and Cam maybe can agree with me or disagree with me. I think the best part of competing is actually the getting on stage, and then after the night show, when you step off and it's all done, and like the diet's done, the cardio is done, the steps are done. I've got all these trophies because I whooped all these ladies' asses. Like,
The
this
coach
is
is
just,
there telling you to go stuff your face. Like,
yeah.
the show's my favorite part is after the show, eating with the athlete. And they're like, I'm eating whatever I want with my coach. Like, this is awesome. You'll feel like you're on top of the world and nothing else matters outside of that moment. Like, it'll
For
be
sure.
the happiest time of your life. And it flies by when you're up there on stage too. So take it in.
Yeah, make sure to absorb it all, and give yourself a pat on the back because you've done a lot of good work to this point, and I'm sure you'll continue to do so. So we're looking forward to seeing you up there. But Lauren, where can the people find you? Give them an Instagram tag of where they can find you if they want to see some more.
Well, in 2015, I created my tag and haven't changed it. Built Ford Tough 15.
Yeah, love it.
Text.
So we'll have Lenny edit in a little Built Ford Tough 15 there. Cameron, where can the people find you?
OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. Instagram at Cameron_Cheek.
And as always, I am the _squat father. I think that was around 2015 as well. I claimed it, and no one's been able to take it since. But as always, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Head on over to giftedperformance.com. Give our automated coaching a try. If you want to look into one-on-one coaching with any of the coaches, you can hit that Meet the Coaches page, see what we're all about, see a little bit of Cam, see a little bit of myself and the rest of everyone. Have a great day, and as always, stay gifted.
Thanks,